Edgar Casey was born in 1877 in Christian County, Kentucky. As a young child, he reported seeing and talking with angels and other spiritual beings. He struggled at school until he discovered an ability to enter a trance. In this sleeping state, he became privy to information he did not previously hold, developing into something of a prodigy. In December 1893, the Casey family moved to Hopkinsville, Kentucky. 62 years later, this town would be host to the Hopkinsville Goblin Encounter, an incident in which a family were reportedly terrorized by extraterrestrial visitors, who later inspired Sableye, one of my favorite Pokemon. As an adult, Casey continued to enter his mysterious sleeps, delivering messages from the astral plane. As well as scientific and medical ideas, he spoke about metaphysical questions of the soul, predictions for the future, theories about Atlantis, and even auras, as demonstrated by the popular Pokemon Lucario. Casey's mysterious messages went on to become the basis for much of modern New Age spirituality. Did Edgar Casey really commune with the spirit realm, or was his subconscious mind uncommonly good at recalling information and theories about which he had read? Perhaps we'll never know. What we do know is that he inspires spiritualists, clairvoyants, and practitioners of magic to this day. 51 years after his death, he also inspired a Japanese video game company to name one of their monsters Casey. When the games are translated into English, this monster was called Abra. I'm Luke Summerhays, and I love Abra. Abra and Family are the original Psychic-type Pokemon. The typing was severely overpowered in the original games, and although it is spattered throughout the Pokédex, Abra and Family were absolutely dominant back in the late 90s. While Drowsy and Hypno took their inspiration from hypnosis and sleep suggestions, pseudo-scientific interpretations of psychic power, and Mewtwo was designed more like a science fiction anime supervillain, Abra's psychic powers are very explicitly based on magic and sorcery. This is reflected in Pokédex entries, the designs, and both the Japanese and English naming conventions, either famous real-world magicians or stage magic incantations. Abra does spend most of its time asleep, much like Edgar Casey. Its other defining trait is far more annoying: Abra's teleportation ability. The way it says "beam me up" every time you get close to capturing it has been annoying from the original Red and Blue all the way up to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Even worse, once it is caught, teleport being its only move makes it pretty useless until you level it up some. Leveling it up is worthwhile though, as it eventually evolves into Kadabra. Kadabra is something of a lost Pokemon. Its Japanese name is Youngera, a corruption of Uri Geller. Uri Geller is a famous and controversial stage psychic, born in Israel the year after Edgar Casey died. Uri Geller is famous for bending spoons, supposedly through telekinesis, as well as a number of other tricks which he claims to this day are the result of extrasensory powers, and not of stage trickery. With the name comes Kadabra's design, a spoon which enhances its powers. Because of these elements, Geller sued Nintendo for creating an unauthorized parody of his image. Liz does seem to misunderstand the concept of parody, but Nintendo are no strangers to willfully misinterpreting fair use rulings themselves, so I feel little sympathy there. As well as the spoons and the name, Geller made some unfortunate interpretations about other aspects of Kadabra's design. He has elements of a goat, which is supposed to invoke ideas of magic and witchcraft, but which Geller saw as satanic. The symbols on Kadabra's body come from scientific experiments into ESP from the 1930s. You may recognise them from the opening scene of the original Ghostbusters movie. But Geller saw them as anti-Semitic references to the Nazi Party. The actual courtroom outcome of Geller's lawsuit remains unclear, but the result has been that Kadabra has not appeared in a Pokemon anime or trading card game since 2003. Thankfully, Kadabra evolves into Alakazam, who does appear to this day. Alakazam's Japanese name is Fudin, taken from the famous stage magician and escape artist Harry Houdini, or perhaps from the French magician Jean-Eugène Robert Houdin, on whom Houdini based his own stage name. With his penchant for evading capture, perhaps Houdini's name would have been more appropriate for Abra. Some Pokédex entries describe Alakazam as having an IQ of 5,000 and an infallible memory, which makes it pretty wild that they take orders from 10-year-olds. As with many over-the-top Pokédex claims, it's worth remembering that these may have been written by the very same 10-year-olds. Alakazam is evolved through trading. The trade evolution concept has always been a little weird. The 4 big examples from the original generation each make their own kind of sense though. In this case, Alakazam's whole shtick is that it has allowed its physical body to wither away in exchange for phenomenal mental power, perhaps briefly leaving the physical realm through the odd technology of Pokemon transfer, as well as the mental elevation of detaching itself from feelings for its trainer, is what allows Kadabra to make this final step to being Alakazam. Friend of the show and #1 superfan Andrew Rice, however, still takes umbrage with the trade evolution concept.
What's up, fans of Andrew Loves Pokemon? I'm here today to tell you some information about everybody's favourite teleporting boy, Abra, and his associated family. Now, like everyone I assume, Abra and his family are one of my favourite psychic-based Pokemon. I very much enjoy catching that little Abra by chucking a ball at it and just hoping it will stay, because it's a little boy, he likes to teleport away. But then I like training him up and he gets some badass moves, and he's always been a bit of a permanent fixture of my team. But the real issue that we have here is Pokemon that evolve via trading. What is that all about? I don't want to speak to someone else, let alone give my Pokemon away and hope they'll give it back. That's not a reasonable way to evolve your Pokemon. Alakazam has always been slightly outraged to me, thanks to this ridiculous method. Just give me a trade stone.
Alakazam's special power, and physical weakness, is pushed to the extreme with Mega Alakazam, who also grows a big beard like Gandalf or Dumbledore, solidifying the wizard imagery. In either form, Alakazam has been a top-tier competitive monster since day one. As ever, to learn more about that I have to highly recommend False Swipe Gaming's channel on YouTube. Music for Luke Loves Pokemon was composed by Jonathan Cromie. Artwork for the show is by Katie Groves. If you've enjoyed Luke Loves Pokemon, please do give it a rating and review on iTunes, and tell your Pokemon-loving friends. If you have anything to say about the next Pokemon we'll be covering, Machop and Bellsprout, get in touch. We're on Twitter and Facebook at LukeLovesPKMN, or you can email the show at lukelovespkmn@gmail.com. I'm also taking part in the United Podcasters Pokemon League, which you can find on Twitter at officialuppl. Check that out if you want to see me make a real mess of competitive Pokemon. More than anything else, just remember, I love Abra, and I love you too.